Hi, I'm Dave from Boyinaband. This is a strangely small keyboard. The notes on it are represented by 7 letters of the alphabet, from A to G. Amazing! That was pretty amusing. But those are just the whole tones, the white notes. If you include the black notes as well, then it takes 12 steps to get from A to G sharp. That's 12 semitones. Arpeggiating that, we get the group of notes known as the 12 tones of the Western scale. And then we can add the original note onto the end, amalgamating a collection of notes known as a full octave. 8 whole notes. If you ever learned music in the Western world, that's probably where you started. But why are there 12 tones in it? Why are they from A to G? Who stopped at G? Why is G the end? That sounds like a 90s rap album. Because a note can be any pitch. It's just a vibration of air at a fixed frequency measured in hertz. For instance, 440 hertz is an A. But there's an infinite number of notes between A and A sharp. Why did we pick that? Let's take a journey back in time. Well, that didn't work. Fine, we'll have to imagine it. Holy crap, we're in 1400 BC. What do we have over there? Oh look, it's Gene Simmons' worldview. And what's this? It's the first instance of musical notation that humanity has found so far. The first instance of musical notation that humanity has found so far is a rock tablet. It was made in Iraq, which was then called Sumer, meaning in terms of music, Sumerian is number 1. The song is a hymn to the goddess Nikal. The lyrics say something about giving her an offering in the hopes that she'll return to the people, meaning that humanity's first recorded musical endeavour, people wanted Nikal back. Oh, and proving how incredible the internet is, this is genuinely the only picture of Nikal I could find. If I'm honest, if I was writing music praying to this god, it would probably sound more like... Hey, yo, Dave, what the relevancy is? The tablet shows that the music was recorded in harmonies of thirds. Harmonies are when you use simultaneous pitches, sometimes sounding really nice and consonant, like octaves, perfect fifths, perfect fourths, but sometimes they can sound really painful, like my personal favourite, minor seconds. Gorgeous. And those are used a lot to make metal music that sounds a bit like... Time for an imaginary time machine again. Oh, what have we found here? Oh, it's Pythagoras. You must be in ancient Greece. Let me check. Yeah, they have a functioning economy, it's ancient alright. Pythagoras was supposed to have been walking past a blacksmith's and heard him hammering away on some anvils and noticed that the pitches were all different and be like, damn son, that's that real trap, how you do that? And the blacksmith was all like, I know, but the hammers are all different sizes. Alright, this hammer is half the size, so it must be an octave, and this hammer is 2/3 the size, so it's a perfect fifth, you know what I'm saying? Which is a lovely story, however, it's entirely a bunch of crap. Those ratios are correct for the frequencies of notes, however, it only applies to string lengths, like on guitars and lyres. Lyre, lyre, lyre. Liar. So it wouldn't have worked with hammers. Also, there is no credible evidence about Pythagoras' existence from the time. He was apparently born around 570 BC and all the halfway relevant sources are from about 600 years later. You'd have to be pretty stupid to put credence in an idea when it's been disproved by science and the only sources are books from hundreds of years later that have been retranslated God knows how many times. God knows. What likely happened is that he or some other ancient dude noticed something frickin' cool. The frequencies of the more consonant, nice-sounding harmonies tend to have ratios that are smaller and tidier. For instance, a string with precisely twice the length of another is an octave to it. Or a string 1.5 times as long, so a 2:3 ratio, is the perfect fifth. Except they didn't call it an octave or a fifth, they called it something Greek, I don't know, whatever. So apparently our brains are wired to detect this insanely specific maths by making it sound pleasant whenever this ratio occurs. Why? And to figure out the rest of the ratios, they could have been like, okay, since a fifth is 1.5 times the frequency, that means that starting at A, which is tuned to 440, we've got E at 660, B 990, and if we've got half, that's an octave, B 459. Oh, it's a laser bat. I'm sorry. And finally back round to A at 446.003, but it was just 440. Ah, maths is broken, oh my god! This disparity is known as the Pythagorean comma, which meant that on a piano tuned in this way, an A scale might sound really nice, but then an E-flat scale would sound horrible. So either you played music that didn't change key ever, or you invested in 12 differently tuned pianos and ran between them a lot. Since then, people invented well temperament, which jiggles around the note frequencies a bit so you only need the one piano and the laws of physics don't get broken. Check out the difference. So we use use these 12 notes because this way the scale contains a bunch of those really simple ratios, the ones that sound nice whilst not being a horrendously large number, so you'd have to have a freaking massive piano. For example, there's this website which allows you to measure the accuracy of your tone recognition. I got 0.75 Hz, meaning to make the most of my above average haters gonna hate hearing range, I would have to have 26,640 keys on my fully maximized piano. And that piano would be 366 meters wide, which, to give you a reference, is about as wide as my ego, which is about as wide as the Bank of America building in New York. Freaking big. But Dave, what about the alphabet? The first recorded person to use the alphabet to represent musical notes was a 6th century philosopher called Boethius. And he gave the 2-octave range of notes that were used at the time, the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, N, O... Wait a second, no J? What? Oh, J didn't exist until the 16th century. Well, at least it got invented then. -Z would be a rubbish rapper name. The note names were later changed to repeat from A to G when people started to use other octaves than those two. And eventually people added in the flats and sharps in between to represent those semitones. But yeah, since octaves are a really convenient way to group notes, both mathematically and in terms of how they feel, going through the octave alphabetically just leads you to stop at G. And that's why they aimed at G. But some innate level of understanding consonant music goes back to the frickin' Stone Age. The oldest possible instrument that we found is from 43,000 BC. It's a flute. To give you an idea, there were less than 1 million people on Earth then. I really like the idea of this caveman carving this flute and choosing the notes that sound nice together with no idea of the precise science behind what he was doing. Even back before people understood the harmonic ratios behind it all, people could choose notes to invoke emotion, to make someone happy, to put themselves in the mood to do something, for consolation when they're sad, to make themselves appear more attractive. It's so intensely intertwined with who we are. Sometimes it's worth remembering how ridiculously freaking cool it is that we have an ability like that. We're the only species that feels music that way, so it's worth utilising that. Cheers for watching and have a nice day! Fangirls. Their obsessive nature seems quite a mystery, but today I think I finally figured out what it is that makes a fangirl tick.